Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. Welcome, everyone. Just a quick nod if you can see us and hear us. If you could just type out on the chat box, all the participants.
Vaishnavi, just check your
Yes, I think,
Vaishnavi, just check your phone. There is a message.
right.
Are we good to start?
Right, yes, I'll just, yeah. All right, I think they all can see us and hear us. All right, welcome everyone to today's webinar, which is on law and public policy. We have two panelists with us today. So let's start off with our first panelist. Let me introduce you to our first speaker. We have with us Mr. Parikshit Dhanda. He is professionally trained from Harvard University. Parikshit is one of the leading life coach, motivational speaker, and career coaches in the country. With over 20 years of experience, he has mentored and trained more than 2 million students across domains and regions. We welcome you, sir. Over to you.
All right, we good to start?
Yes, sir.
Great. If you could just cross-check if I'm audible and people can see me. That's all. I just need to know that, if that's okay.
Right. Yeah. So,
Uh,
participants, if you can see Parikshit, sir, and hear him, could you please type yes on the chat box?
and oh, great. We got great. Vaishnavi, if you could also mute. I have my colleague Dr. Srivastav also here. Dr. Srivastav,
Right.
Good evening, sir.
good evening.
Good evening.
Nice to see you, sir.
Pleasure. Same here. Vaishnavi, if you could just mute so that I could start.
Yes.
Great. All right, dear students, and if parents also happen to be there or career practitioners, good evening to all of you. Great. So I'll keep it very short. As my co-panelist will also talk about law and liberal arts here. I mean, law and public policy here. All right, great. So I'll just give you kind of a quick overview. How a lot of students ask me as to what is law and what is the future of law. Number one, law as a field is a brilliant. It's always been there, and in times to come, it's a brilliant opportunity. And I would say law happens to be my top 20 careers of the future. All right, how law has changed over the years, it has evolved. At one point of time, we used to have you would do your 12th class and then get into do your post your 12th, you would do your graduation and then gradually move on to your law degree. Today, thanks to the advent of National Law School Bangalore in 1987, and then on to other exams, other institutions coming up. Today, we are talking about amazing law institutes in the country. And as this particular practice and this domain of study is getting more and more professional, absolutely ready, with new areas coming in, areas like celebrity management law, you've got aviation, you've got cyber, you've got IT, you've got intellectual property rights, and tons of other opportunities as far as law is concerned. Okay, a lot of us think about criminal law, corporate law, taxation law, and so many areas. Now, first of all, I would want to talk about how law has changed. Today, when we talk about law, one of the best programs in the country is 5-year law program after 12. All right, and then we'll get into that. But I first need to tell you, what can you do after law? That's very, very important. Okay, before I go into what kind of entrance exams, how do you crack them, and so on. What can you do after a law career? Number one is, once you do law, which is a regular, which everyone knows. After getting your BA, LLB, or BSc, or BCom, or a BBA, whatever, you finish your program, after which you go to Bar Council of India, get a license to practice in India. Okay, that's called litigation. That's all of us know that you get to litigate, whether you start at a lower court or you go to High Court, Supreme Court, whichever way you practice. Okay, that's something that's known to us. Now, another important area. What if you want to graduate from a law university and you don't want to litigate? What are the options now? Now let's look at number one. Can I go for what is called chamber practice? Okay, can I work with a law firm? Now there are tons of law firms, Indian or Indian with subsidiary of international law firms. Can you work with them? Yes. Next, I don't want to work with a law firm. I want to work with a company. As a law officer in the beginning, slowly, gradually moving on to what is called assistant manager, manager legal, and then AVP, VP, director legal, through the ranks. Wow. So can you work with the GSKs or the Pepsis or the Facebooks or the Airtels and so on? Every company would lead a law enforcement team. All right. Great. Say I don't want to do that. I finish my law, and after that I want to do my master's and get into teaching. I want to work with an established law college or a university. Can I teach? Absolutely. Okay. After law, I want to write books. I want to get into publishing. Is that a possibility? Absolutely. After law, legal process outsourcing. Great. Now I want to look at judiciary. After law, I practice law, and then I write the Indian Judicial Service exam, and I go on to practice. Then no, I want to look at law and chartered accountancy, law and company secretary, law and an MBA. Okay, I'm a specialist in law, and then I couple it up with an MBA degree, law and CFA. Okay, great. No, I want to do something else, law and economics, law and international relations, law, and I want to work with Asian Development Bank. I want to work with the UN. I want to work with many other. Great. Law and social work. Okay, law and social work, and I want to work in the law and public policy, law and diplomacy, not only diplomacy in India or abroad. Okay, law and civil services, law and masters, and then so therefore with law, there are hundreds of opportunities that you can do post-law. All right, great. Having set the tone, now let's understand what do we do at this juncture. So I'm talking to a 12th class student right now. Okay, now what happens in 12th class? You prepare for your 12th class board exams, and you also prepare for your law entrance exams. Okay, now what kind of law entrance exams do we have in the country? All right, now there are few very well-known exams. For example, at one point of time, National Law School Bangalore had its own exam. Nalsar Hyderabad would have its own exam. Now we have a consortium called CLAT. Okay, so there is an exam called CLAT, and under CLAT we have, say, 20 plus national law colleges. Great. Now another exam is called ALET. That's for the National Law School Dwarka. All right. Then we have a very important exam which is called the Indian LSAT. Okay, all right. LSAT is again law admission test that you write in order to go to very established law institutions in the country. Okay. Then you have something called a Maharashtra CT. Then you have something called a SLAT. You have your Christ, you have Narsimonji, then you have tons, you have IP University. There are a lot of exams, all right? Today, I'm going to practically talk about 2-3 exams, all right? One is called LSAT. I'm also going to talk a little about CLAT and ALET, okay? If you have any questions, I'll be, yeah. What are my top 10 careers, Parinita? Right now, I'll maybe in another, if I get that opportunity, maybe another webinar, I'll talk about it. But law definitely happens to be one of the brightest career around. Just like you talking about, in future, we talk about AI, machine learning. We talk about design as a big disruptor career. We talk about psychology as the next possible career. For me, law is a big career. Law also from a perspective, see, listen, law is law not only just from practice, law as in alternative dispute resolution system. Okay, law is not only just comes with mergers and acquisitions. Law is when you need to go to a different country and work. Law is right now internet jurisdiction. Law is also about when you have so many startups. Law is about patents. Law is about trademarks, copyright. Law is about your proprietary rights. Law is a brilliant opportunity. All right. Can I do law with MBA? And yeah, absolutely. We'll discuss that later. Now let's get into the law exams. Okay. Typically, law exams, CLAT is second Sunday of May. LSAT and ALET also have their timings. This is how the normal entrance exams seen in the country. This year, however, oh my God, this year has been, I don't know, a lot of jokes and memes about 2020. So yeah, the entire entrance exam scene has been disrupted. CLAT, which was supposed to be held in May, now has gone to June. And very recently, I think day before, we got this notification from ALET that 30th June is the last date for you to apply, and the exam will be held in August. All right. They haven't come up with a date for ALET, but this is most likely going to be in August. Which date? They will come up with a date. LSAT, we have a date, but what is happening is now that there are possibilities we may not be able to conduct these exams in the way they used to be conducted. For example, like CLAT is a paper pen test. I don't know when and in what condition we'll be able to conduct it. So therefore, LSAT has gone proctored. All right. Priti, I'd love to take these questions. Is it good for one who doesn't belong to a law family? Absolutely. Those are times we are talking about early 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000. You know, maybe if I don't have a family background, can I still look at law? No. Even if there is no one in the family, can you still establish yourself in the law field? Absolutely, Dhriti. Right? Even if there is no background, you can do tremendously well as far as law is concerned. Okay, great. Okay, so now going back to the entrance exam, what does it test and how does it test? Okay, then we'll get to the proctored LSAT also. When you talk about CLAT, now CLAT has also changed. Okay, there is a new avatar that CLAT talks about. Typically, we are looking at 4 or 5 areas. Okay, number 1 is called GK. All right, GK. Now GK again, is it current GK? Is it static GK? Is it general awareness? That's one. 1 second. Someone saying my video is stuck. Can you tell me? Can you see me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are visible and audible.
Perfect. Okay. I would request you, if you're struggling, kind of refresh. Okay. Parinita, I will surely talk about each exam. Okay, just bear with me. I'll talk about each exam. So number 1 is called GK. Okay, I'm talking about CLAT perspective right now. Then we get into English. Now English again, typically you have to think about vocabulary, good vocabulary, reading comprehension. You need to be really, really good at reading comprehension. Third is grammar. If you're doing this, grammar can be called sentence correction, whatever. If you're doing these 3, you're good. Next comes critical reasoning. Now, critical reasoning, syllogisms, analogies, very important part of verbal logic. And then we get into something called legal reasoning. Okay, or legal reasoning, legal aptitude. Now, that's where, can they ask you questions from typically, can there be a question from the constitutional law perspective? Now, please understand, they do not expect you to know and read law. All right. In its new avatar, you're not supposed to know or have prior knowledge of law. However, the questions can center around basic common sense principles that could be related to whether constitution, it could be criminal law, it could be contract, it could be torts, but you don't need to read these acts. You don't need to, okay? So there'll be a principle, which means now in its new avatar, there'll be a passage, okay? Now I'm talking about the new CLAT. New CLAT, even the GK can be in terms of a passage. So for example, they give you a COVID-19. Okay, that's my way of explaining to you. Say there is a passage on COVID-19. Okay, what are you doing? You're reading something that's happening in your life. But suddenly a question that, hi, what have been the various pandemics that have hit this mankind. So for example, Ebola, there was MERS, there was SARS and whatever. And then can there be a question in which year this pandemic came to being? So therefore that becomes your GK question, all right? Or who came with a vaccine for that pandemic? Now that's your GK question. However, it is contextual. It is related to a topic that you're reading now. For example, we are going through, say, we are likely heading towards a recession. Okay, for example, they are saying, okay, which all industries have been disrupted. Then they link it to a 2009 area, and then they bring it to subprime crisis. How did that happen? When did it happen? Where did it originate? Now that can be a static question, but it is related to the present topic. So that's how GK is going to be. Now, next question. How will they check you on vocab? Earlier, rote learning, you know the meaning or an antonym or a synonym of a word. Today, what will they do? Is CLAT tougher than other competitive exam? Aman, I'll come to that question. Let me finish this. I'll come to a question. Does college have a huge influence on your law career? We'll discuss that. So therefore, how will they check your vocabulary? Now, in a passage, there'll be a word. It'll be in reference to context if this word was to be replaced by another word. Now, definitely I'm asking you the meaning. But here the meaning is in reference to the context. So therefore, even if you've rattled, even if you've crammed the meaning, here the nuance of the word could have changed with reference to context. So that's how it is reading comprehension. Therefore, my dear students, please understand, if it is still third week of June, do you have time? Absolutely work on your reading comprehensions. Okay? If you're able to do that, you will be in a much better position. Now, a lot of students come back to me and say, Parikshit, if I am a dude, as far as GK is concerned, CLAT is gone. My take on CLAT, let me share my personal take. Okay, I've been teaching for, I don't know how many years, but let me tell you, CLAT, if you are good in these three areas, now listen to this: reading comprehension, verbal logic, legal. If you can do well in these three areas, you made it. GK, yes, it needs to be there with you, but please understand, GK is vast. Can you get a grip? Is there a method to the madness? Keep doing it, but you can't slow down in these three areas: reading comprehension, verbal logic, and legal. You have to be strong in this. This has to be your strong suit. Okay, great. That's about CLAT. Now, let's move to ALET. ALET, again, if you go by ALET, if we go by the existing infrastructure that ALET has, is 35, 35, 35, and 10. All right. It's an exam. Again, same ways. Maths is just about 10. So maths here and there, but overall you need to program. Number one, your ability to read faster, your ability to read accurately and fast. Okay. Now, fast doesn't mean at the cost of accuracy. Okay. Now let's talk about LSAT. Now LSAT, primarily, there are two areas which are taken off, which is legal reasoning and GK. Both are taken off. Now, what do we deal with? We deal with, definitely, I'm discussing about public policy also. Yes, I'm just done with this and then I'm moving to public policy. Therefore, when you're talking about LSAT right now will be proctored. So what do they do? So you're giving 5 sections, okay? 35 minutes, and then you're looking at about 150. All right, what are we doing? There is no negative marking, and there is one variable section that's coming. Now, please understand, variable section, you will not get to know which section is not being scored. So therefore, please understand, you should not be leaving even one question unanswered as far as LSAT is concerned. Now, proctored, please understand, I would want you to read on proctored as to what are going to be the guidelines, how it is proctored, what do you have to do, how do you have to take care of your room, how, and please, even if you are tempted to think I can use some external point to score as LSAT, my request to you students is being ethical. Don't try to do anything crazy while you're attempting a proctored exam at home, because they are going to keep very strict vigil. There are softwares. Don't even think on those terms. And you're writing it in the your drawing room or wherever you're sitting in your living room, do that. Okay, now talking about quickly, should we appear for CLAT in 11th or 12th? 12th, that goes without saying. You can practice as many mocks as you can. All right, great. As far as public policy is concerned, now public policy, please understand, it is to my mind, it is one of the best examples of interdisciplinary program. For example, what are we studying? We are looking at political science. All right, we're looking at law, we're looking at sociology, we're looking at public administration, and also economics. So imagine economics, psychology, sociology, political science, public administration, law, the entire amalgamation is public policy, right? Now, in India, it is, I wouldn't say it's in a nascent stage. Absolutely, it's a live area which is coming up. You will see more and more brilliant colleges and universities giving you undergrad public policy. Do we have good programs at the master's and undergrad level? Yes. Are they like crazy in number? No. So therefore, public policy at the graduate level, for example, just to understand, will I be studying macroeconomics, microeconomics, Indian economics? Yes. Will I be studying political governance, constitution, law, public policy, polity? Absolutely. Will I be studying psychology, quantitative methods, qualitative methods, statistical methods? Will I be studying software tools, advanced tools to kind of do my qualitative and quantitative analysis? Will I be studying about diversity, urban setup, sustainability? It's a beautiful program, and it's a much needed domain which needs to be supported by the youth, because if we need to see a change in the mindset towards not only polity and public policy, it's a brilliant program. Okay, what kind of institutions are there? My team is already writing about it. We have Dr. Srivastava from another amazing university called Jagran Lake University in Madhya Pradesh, Bhopal, where they have also path-breaking programs as far as public policy and law is concerned. Okay, now I'm just taking few questions before I hand it over to my colleague, Dr. Srivastava. Scope in cyber law, Parinita, plenty. Okay, you will have to clear the bar exam. So can you please tell us about international law? Right now, when you talk about law in the country, let me tell you, if you happen to study law in India, in all these institutions, very nice top 50, top 100 institutions in India, you are set. And in that, then at the master's level, please understand, not every institution in India gives you something called specialization in law. Okay, very few give you. Otherwise, you become a general, you just get your degree, which is BA, LLB or BSc or BBA or BCom. There's very little maths in CLAT. Absolutely. I'm doing the company secretary course along with I wish to do BA, LLB, will correspondence LLB. When it comes to doing any of these professional programs in a correspondence way, I would suggest, unless there is no scope, unless you're left with no chance, you should not be doing a correspondence program unless you're already established and you just feel that maybe studying law will be just an additional skill level. Okay, then it makes sense. Otherwise, it's best to do a proper what you call a regular program. Why? Because you need to understand the nuances of law as a practitioner. Okay, if it is just to add a degree or something that I'm basically adding a skill, there is no problem. Is civil services and public policy related? Yes, in a certain way, yes. Maths is next. If we study in law through CLAT, is there any way we can pursue? Please understand, when it comes to US, it is best that Anushka, if you do your law here in India, it is best to then do your master's in US, and then after that you have to do the bar exam. Okay, all right. I will now take questions slightly later. Don't worry, I'm here with you. I'm not going anywhere. I'll try. My team, can you give them my direct email ID in case they want to get in touch with me about anything to do with anything to talk about the coaching or test prep or test series or how to write these exams or public policy or institutions, whatever. I'll be more than happy to write back. Vaishnavi, over to you. Let's get Dr. Srivastava to start talking about this, and then we'll take up more questions. I'm here with you. Thank you.
Right. So I'll quickly introduce you to our next speaker. We have with us Professor Yogendra Kumar Srivastava. He is the Dean Student Welfare and Director, JLU School of Law, Jagran Lake City University, a nationally awarded academician in the area of legal education. He specializes in international law, insurance law, environmental law, labor laws, and human rights. Apart from the glorious career in academics, he also has a wide experience of working for the government as a court officer in customs, excise, service, tax appellate, tribunal, Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance, and Government of India. We welcome you, sir. Over to you. Sir, I think you are
Thank
muted.
you. Yes. Thank you very much. Thanks to you, sir, for a detailed discussion about admission test, LSAT, CLAT, and different universities. They are conducting separately different tests. Before I will start with the topic which is allocated to me, is emerging career domains in the world of law and public policy. I want to clear law and public policy both are entirely different domains and separately need a 1 hour discussion, but I will try to limit myself and complete the whole task within a limited time period, limited time frame. And number of questions I have seen, it is through chat, it is visible to me. First of all, I want to clear after 10+2. In any stream, you are eligible to take admission in BA LLB Honors 5-year integrated course, BBA LLB Honors 5-year integrated course, BCom LLB Honors 5-year integrated course, as well as unique domains, the different law universities as well as few private law schools, they are offering BSc LLB Honors 5-year integrated course, as well as IIT Kharagpur is offering BTech LLB Honors. It is a very unique stream where students are interested, and to some extent in different areas we have a traditional LLB 3-year course, and you can take admission after graduation in any stream. You can enter into this course, LLB 3-year course. As well as regarding public policy, number of institutions, central universities, state universities, as well as law universities, they are offering BA in public administration. They are offering BA honors in public policy and administration. At PG level, they are offering public policy and international affairs. This is a brief idea about the whole structure of programs which we have at the country level in different central universities, state universities, deemed universities, and in private universities of different states. And in addition to that, I want to add where the career opportunities you have. That is very important in post-COVID scenario where we are looking the career opportunities. This is very important because recently when the Honorable Supreme Court launched e-filing system. So now after COVID-19, as and when we will start opening or relaxing this lockdown 4, or we are entering into the lockdown 4 period, where we are looking the opportunities specifically in law and public policy. This is very important because the students, they are looking career in law. It is a very glamorous career which you have. I can say in top 10 in the world, we can say, and it is not lucrative as well as on a money point. Is a very well attractive career if you are entering into this domain in the field of law or a public policy. It depends upon you, and particularly in after post lockdown COVID-19, where the career opportunities. And in this perspective, I want to share few important things where the opportunity up to the next 10 years or 20 years we have. I will give you the example. I will give you the specific domain where the opportunities are, career opportunities are. I want to start with the very important area, a specific area. Recently, the different state governments, they started working on that. Land, labor, industry, and law. Number of state governments like Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, and other governments, they started working on labor law reforms. Why they are doing so? Because they are they want to attract FDI. foreign direct investment in their respective states. But what will happen ultimately, because suppose it's a working hour time is 8 hours, presently they want to increase up to 12 hours. And recently there is a number of layoff and retrenchment which we have seen recently in the whole system. Then there is a dispute arises. Slowly, gradually, we will see the good quality lawyers we want to handle such type of disputes in industrial tribunals or a high court or Supreme Court, where the more litigation we will see. And my learned colleague, my learned friend was talking about ADR, alternative dispute resolution. Litigation is not only the solution which we have. Nowadays, even Supreme Court, High Court, and the various tribunals, they are talking about this ADR practices which we are missing, though we have a concept of a gram panchayat, gram nyayalaya in our India, but that something is missing and there is no linkages which we have and presently in our system. So this is the one area where we are talking about is labor, land, labor, industry, and law. This is the one stream. Another stream is very important in this post-COVID-19. What you will see, it's a insurance and banking sector. Insurance and banking sector is very, very emerging area after post-COVID-19, because number of insurance companies now they are pushing this corona in that whole structure of insurance policy, health insurance policy, or different other policies which they are offering to the customers in the products. So and particularly when we are talking about banking sector, and recently, for example, there is a example of a Google Pay. Google Pay started working, but recently Delhi High Court issued a notice to this Google Pay, where you have a locus to start this whole process. Then they submitted a reply to the Delhi High Court, and the customers, they are unaware about this fact. They are only extending technical support to the different banks. So there is some suppression of material fact by these companies. This is important to know, and ultimately what will happen, the customer will be ultimately the affected parties. And where we need good quality lawyers or the good quality experts to address these insurance and banking issues as and when it will come before us. So this is a very important area. After post-COVID-19, we will start looking at this. Then the third very important area is the e-commerce and trade. For example, Amazon, Flipkart, Alibaba, and different number of e-commerce and trade companies are entering. And recently, Jio Retail is also launched in collaboration with the Facebook and different other international players. As and when these companies will enter into the domain of e-commerce and trade, then automatically the question will come, if there is a fraud or there is a mischievous affairs will be happening with the customers, who will responsible, and what are the legal recourses available, and what exactly the appropriate platform which we have to settle the disputes. And ultimately, in this sector, a lot of litigation is expected. Lot of litigation and disputes will definitely come into picture, and we need experts. And there is a lot of career opportunities. Even as interns, you can join these e-commerce companies, as well as the lawyers or law firms. They have a good opportunities to enter into that. Then the fourth important area which I want to address quickly is we are looking at the situation of migrant workers. They are moving from Maharashtra, Gujarat, or from southern region to the northern region. What will happen? What is the consequences of this, which you will see, which you will face in future? That's why I am requesting, even as a lawyer, because I am from the legal profession, ultimately it will affect the family relationship in future. Then now, ultimately, after 10 years, they are going back to their original native place, and they start demanding their share in the property. And in future, you will see that a lot of litigation will come, or there are number of family relationships disturbed due to this reason. And that at tehsil level, at district level, we want good quality lawyers, human lawyers, to address these issues. They have very carefully, very cautiously, because otherwise it will disturb the whole harmony of the society. Because we as an advocate, if we start thinking, then definitely it will disturb the whole peace in the society, peace in the family, because we as a responsible citizen of the society, we are here to address not only the problems of the litigants, but to act as a catalyzer, act as a mediator to resolve the problem as a human being first. This is our responsibility. My fellow learned friend was talking about cyber law and cyber security. Yes, this is a very important emerging domain in this world. Either it's a law or a public policy. When we are talking about cyber law and cyber security, data sovereignty and data security is the most important matter right now before the government of India, and they are working on it. Because if you will see many universities, they are offering certificate courses, they are offering diploma courses, they are offering degree courses as well as PG courses, even MS in cyber law and cyber security offered by National Law Institute, University Bhopal. So in collaboration with a few technical universities, few IITs, they are working on this, and we need good quality cyber experts to address the concerned areas. So this is again is a very, very important area. And another emerging domain they have, if you will see the last 4 days press conference of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, then you will realize their focus is on real estate sector. This sector is neglected by the government earlier, but lot of disputes is we are seeing the number of cases were filed before the RERA. RERA is a very is an important body nowadays. We need good quality lawyers to appear before the RERA and provide justice to the consumers, because ultimately real estate sector is suffering a lot due to the different reasons. Government is trying their level best to support this real estate sector, but real estate law is a very, very important area. If a student starts thinking about this, there is a lot of opportunity or a career opportunities which you will see in this real estate sector itself. Then it's an infrastructure and energy law. Infrastructure law and energy law, only few law schools they are focusing on that, because we are very traditional in our approach sometimes. Sometimes central universities, even state universities, they are not amending their syllabus at all. But for example, in Jagran Lake City University, every year we are sitting with the Board of Studies member, where the important professors from National Law Universities, vice chancellors, they are the member of that, and we are reviewing. We already added real estate laws, infrastructure laws, energy laws. So if a student start building their career in that specific domain, then you will see the sea change in your overall CV as well as in your earnings. This is very attractive. These are the very attractive, important fields we have. Then ultimately, if you will talk about environmental compliances, because environmental law is a very important area. Again, my focus is on that. Either it's air law, it's a water law, it's a hazardous waste rules, or it's a Environmental Protection Act 1986, whatever it is. After Bhopal Gas Tragedy 1984, there is a lot of reforms, number of laws were enacted by the parliament to protect the environment. And ultimately, if you will see, environmental compliances are least priority of the industry persons, because sometimes they are lacking good quality lawyers to complete the whole process. So, for example, because in nowhere in the country we inducted this important topic as a part of the syllabus. So ultimately, if it is missing and it is not the part of the syllabus, how the student can start thinking about the same? This is the responsibility of the legal educational institutions to bring or to incorporate these important topics into the syllabus. So ultimately, this is the responsibility on our shoulder, on the shoulders of the educational institution or the universities, leading universities. They should discuss these important emerging areas and incorporate that. And as well as if you will see the now technology law. Technology law is also a gray area where you can start thinking, you can start exploring, you can start working on that, and you can develop in future your expertise. We need such quality people to address the issues which is directly linked with the technology law. And very important. It is very well-established law in foreign countries, European countries, is a health and medicine law. And the coming year, in the coming 5 years, 10 years, you will see the sea change in the whole legal education. Definitely, the educational institutions which they are offering 5-year integrated course or a 3-year LLB degree course or LLM, they will definitely work on this, and they will add this health and medicine law as a very important integral part of the syllabus. If it is missing, these papers are missing, then yeah, we cannot say that legal education is complete. Criminal law, civil law, constitutional law, international law, these are the orthodox traditional papers. This is mandatory by the Bar Council of India. If it is a part of the syllabus, you are not doing even justice with the students if these important emerging areas are missing in that. For example, again, I am focusing, will just conclude the career opportunities regarding, it is regarding competition law. Competition law and economic laws are again very important focus area, and where we need attention of the important educational institutions. If they are doing justice with the students, net should be the part of syllabus. So if ultimately, if you want to appear before the Competition Commission of India, how you will draft an application? And if it is a matter related to dominance, abuse of dominance. For example, earlier when they had Jio launched this 4G, there was an allegation law by the different telecommunication companies on Jio. They are misusing the dominant position, and it was decided by ultimately by Competition Commission of India, by the High Court, by the Supreme Court. No, not at all. They are new in the respective in this area. How you can say that they are misusing the dominant position? So ultimately, if you don't go through with these important emerging areas as a part of your syllabus, integral part of your syllabus, you cannot appreciate or you cannot think about these specific areas. And I want to mention last important area. This is not the last from my side. It is, I want to conclude this as a last, is a taxation. And taxation is not direct tax, is not income tax, limited to income tax. In the field of taxation, I want to mention very important fact before you. All leading law firms of the companies, they are basically working in the field of indirect taxation. They are working in the field of corporate taxes, corporate law. So my dear friends, my dear students, my dear participants, if you want to do or you want to excel yourself, you want to groom yourself, you want to develop your expertise in a specific area. So ultimately, it's either it's a health and medicine law, it's a cyber law, it's a competition law, it's a taxation law, it's a sports law, it's a different other emerging areas. You should start thinking even from the very first semester. If you are interested to go through with all areas, and then definitely it is not possible for you. You develop yourself in one area. Then you will see that ultimately we are approaching to one criminal lawyer. Known criminal lawyer, for example, earlier it was Jaran Jethmalani, now he is no more with us, Manaf T.S. Tulsi. If we want to file a constitutional writ petition before the Supreme Court, we are thinking about Vivek Krishna Tanikha. We are thinking about Abhishek Manu Singhvi. We are thinking about different other lawyers. They have expertise in that constitutional law. And they have expertise in the specifically in criminal law, civil law, and different other matters. So there is a plenty of opportunities during this lockdown, even post COVID-19. You will see the whole scenario of legal education will entirely is going to change. And these are the areas where maximum litigation you will find. Maximum litigation you will find there. So ultimately, basically the topic which is allocated to me is emerging career domains in the world of law and public policy. And in public policy, I want to come. Law includes public policy, but public policy has a potential to travel alone. This is a feature of public policy. And the Constitution of India is an excellent document of public policy. We as a largest democracy of the world, we as a sovereign country, we as a socialist welfare country, this is the responsibility on the shoulder of the state to do welfare or to launch social welfare schemes in the larger interest of the countrymen, in the larger interest of the citizens of this country. So ultimately, if you will see, sometimes public policy to achieve the goals and objectives set by the law, legislation, which is enacted by the parliament. But even public policy has a potential to travel alone without the assistance of law. For example, Swachh Bharat Mission, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Skill India, Digital India, Self-Reliance India. So whatever the things which we are seeing is a more or less is a public policy domain, and where we need a law person can easily convert himself or herself into a public policy expert, but public policy expert can never have a chance to convert into a lawyer, because law is a professional degree which we need either to gap through the 5-year course or a 3-year course. But public policy is a different domain where you have an opportunity to start your career with the United Nations, different agencies, important agencies of the United Nations like UNEP, UNDP, FAO, WHO, a number of agencies which we have under UN body or affiliated to United Nations, as well as the different think tank, important think tank which they are affecting socio-economic political structure of India. You can join the same think tank and you start your career, as well as you can start your career as a public policy analyst, because it is also important before launching any scheme, they want to analyze it. And even after they are launching any government scheme, the government is analyzing on the basis of the feedback which they have received from the masses. So ultimately, public policy is closely linked with the law and public policy, but linked with the law and public policy, interdependent, we can say, but need to grab or to join this course is a separate affair. For public policy, I don't think so you are supposed to appear a CLAT-like examination or LSAT-like examination. So there is a possibility to take admission in BA Public Administration. For example, in Jagran School of Public Policy and International Affairs, we are offering BA honors in Public Policy and Administration and MA in Public Policy and International Affairs. So it depends upon the students where they want to go. And ultimately, one student has asked this question: what is the criteria to choose or to select any specific institution, either related to law or a public policy? I want to mention three, four important USPs of any institution, not my institution at all. It is the most important thing is a faculty, strength of faculty. If there is no permanent faculty, then definitely they are lacking something. Permanent faculty with good quality, experience and educational qualification as per the UGC mandate and Bar Council of India mandate. Then the second is library. Is a very important thing. Suppose they don't have a good quality infrastructure or a good quality library to provide you the journals, hard copy of journals. For example, Manupatra, LexisNexis, SSC Online, LegitQuest, Law Finder. If they are not able to provide these online legal databases to their students, they don't have a right to even run the educational institution. And the third is exposure. What exposure you are getting at a national level as well as at international level. So this is a third important USP case. Suppose you are not getting a chance to appear in moot court competition at national level. Yes, this is a very important skill at a university level, at a school, any school level. You are supposed to nurture your mooting qualities, and this is a responsibility on the shoulder of the legal educational institutions. That then they will come forward and provide these things to the students. And ultimately, fourth is a infrastructure. And it matters for every student before you will take admission anywhere in the country or abroad. First, not only I'm talking abroad, at least in the country, you visit first these educational institutes. Thanks. I'm concluding from my side because with the help of my learned colleague, learned friend, it is a very easy affair for me to focus only on career opportunities. So he has already covered LSAT and other examination, online examinations.
Thank you, Dr. Srivastava. Vaishnavi, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Let's talk about it.
Right. So I have a few questions for you, sir.
Okay.
First one is, could you just throw light on the admission procedure of JLU School of Law?
In Jagran Lake City University, we are accepting CLAT scorecard as well as LSAT scorecard. And in addition to that, university is also conducting its own entrance examination. And if you will give me a chance to, I want to say something about my university before we will start discussion about Jagran Lake City University School of Law. I want to introduce my university. Jagran Lake City University Bhopal is one of the fastest growing and one of the most awarded university of the Central India. And the university is currently offering 60 plus degree courses and more than 2,500 students we have from 8 countries and 27 states. This is the strength of the Jagran Lake City University. In a very short span of 7 years, we have developed this strength at national level. And in addition to that, I want to focus, we have 27 MOUs with international universities, and through which we are involved in a faculty student exchange program, and in collaboration with these universities, we are regularly conducting important international conference, workshops, seminars, faculty development programs, as well as recently we conducted moot court competitions. So this is a regular feature in Jagran Lake City University. And in addition to that, it is definitely is a matter of surprise for all participants. In Central India, Jagran Lake City University is the only university which is now a part of a very important, prestigious Erasmus Plus project, Tuning India project. And this is fully funded by European Commission. In Central India, no university is a part of this prestigious Erasmus Plus project. And in 3 areas, law, engineering, and education, we are developing and incorporating into the syllabus the competencies which we are lacking and at par with the European standards. So this is the strength of Jagran Lake City University. And in addition to that, the university has been bestowed with several prestigious awards. University of the Year, as well as a Great Place to Learn, is recognized by Global League Institution. And in addition to that, it is a number one private university of the Madhya Pradesh, consecutively from 2016, 17, 18, and 19 by Madhya Pradesh government, as well as by recognition given by the leading magazine Career 360 and Education World.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. You mentioned about the different courses in LLB. We have BCom, we have BBA, BSc, etc. So what all courses are available at your university, your school?
Basically, our university is offering BBA LLB Honors 5-year integrated course, BA LLB Honors 5-year integrated course, as well as we are offering LLB 3-year course. In addition to that, we are offering LLM with the specialization in 3 important streams. It's in first stream is a corporate and intellectual property laws. Second stream is a criminal law and criminal justice, and the third is cyber law and cyber security. In addition to that, we are also offering MPhil and PhD program in law.
All right, great. And how about the industry collaboration, sir, with respect to internships or maybe some kind of placements?
It's a very good question from your side, because our passing out batch last year, it is passed out 2019 and got a very good placement. For example, in ICSA Lombard, and our students are engaged. They are pursuing their internship. In this year itself, they started doing internship. Now it is an online internship. Recently, we conducted virtual online internship fair for our students on 9th and 10th May, and about 150 students got online internship offers. And university is providing at university level, we have an internship and placement cell. at a school level, JLU School of Law itself having a good quality set of people, group of people, faculty members. They are giving full assistance to our students where they will go to join internship and for placement, which law firms are good for them. So they are involved full time. They are giving full assistance to our students. And I want to mention one very important thing. Internship is a mandatory after every even semester, and it is of 100 marks. So if you will compare with other law universities or prestigious law schools, even their internship is not a mandatory component. So it is a value added, it's a very important USP of the JLU School of Law, where we are requesting, we are nurturing students, we are assisting students to join initially. After, suppose, for example, after second semester, they will join consumer forum, district court, family courts. Like they will start from even tehsil court. They will start learning the basic procedures of the court, how to file, how to even prepare a file for litigation. So that is important. That is important to understand the district level, at tehsil level, or tribunal level, or family court level. Understanding is important for the first year students immediately after second semester. Then after fourth semester, they are developing their skills, their expertise, in which field they want to join. They want to, suppose they want to enter into the criminal law. Suppose they want to start thinking about judicial services. They want to start preparing for their civil services. When they want to sit for this ADPO exams, or even they are interested more into join LLM from prestigious law schools abroad. So we are giving full assistance, full freedom to our students. There is no problem from our side. We are here to assist students. Basically, we are the mentoring our students.
All right. And post this, yes, sir.
Can I just take one question? I love the name Phunsu Wangri. Any particular personality trait that are crucial for success in the law field? Two questions I want to address. Okay, so that's why I've just bothered to interrupt my learned colleague there. Two questions. One is, can I come from a science or a commerce or a humanities background? Now, whether you are crazy about engineering, whether you have biology, physics, chemistry, or you have accounts, you have economics, sociology, political science, you have whatever subject. Law, you don't get a typical edge. So, for example, I'm a PCM student. I've got maths as very strong, and analytical reasoning and logical reasoning. Great. I'm a political science student. Do I need to have political science in my 11th and 12th? No. Do I need to study legal studies as a subject in 11th and 12th to do well? No. You can be from any stream, number one. Number two, however, if you have to do BSc LLB, you need to be from a science stream. Why? Because in case you need to be a trademark and patent attorney, you need to have science background. Okay, so only those requirements. Otherwise, you're good to go. Number one. Number two, what kind of people make amazing lawyers? A lot of them say, oh, just because you're not able to communicate, you don't have great communication, you're not a great orator, you cannot be a lawyer. No, it's a myth. Okay. Why? Because law is not just litigation. Law is so much. So yes. People think, oh my God, Parikshit, I can't talk so much. I can't be a lawyer. Let me tell you, the top students who graduate from national law schools or so on, many of them don't even see the court in their entire lifetime. I'm not saying literally meaning you'll never see court, but meaning no need to practice. For example, I'm a briefing counsel in a company, and I can spend my entire life helping my counsels to litigate. So that's one. What kind of qualities are required? Number one, your ability to read. I'm sorry, you take whatever career with law, you will have to read. Okay, so if you are somebody who cannot stick your bum to the chair and cannot read for half an hour or an hour, sorry. Why? Because you will need to read voluminous data during your law 5 years and then your entire life. Whether you become a judge or you're a briefing counsel, reading is important. Next, couple of very important areas. Your ability to observe, your attention to detail. Okay. Now, just because I fight or argue with my parents, will I make a great lawyer? All of us will make great lawyers, okay? Because we love to argue with our friends and families, okay? No, it's not. Your power to negotiate, okay? Negotiate, read between the lines. All these things are important characteristics, patience, observation, okay? And slowly, you will learn. Okay, is it would I say, would I put my money on law as a career? Absolutely, without doubt. Okay, please, over to you, sir.
I want to add one thing in this, sir. A law student should be a good researcher, as well as drafting skill is required if you want to make a career either as a litigant or in the field of litigation, or even as you want to join this civil services or this judicial services. Ultimately, this drafting skill definitely matters.
My
It will
bad.
definitely matter.
My bad. Very, very important points. Research and drafting skill.
Yes, yes.
Very important. Okay, great. Thank you. Vaishnavi,
Yes, yes.
Right. So I have one last question, sir. So has the university made any kind of changes with respect to admission procedure during this time that would help students understand?
Vaishnavi, it's a very important question which you are raising right now. I want to share. Since inception, 2013, Jagran Lake City University is totally online using an ERP system. Attendance is through on ERP. We are every faculty member is supposed to upload attendance on ERP. We are sending open source learning material to our faculty member, our students through ERP. We are uploading it on ERP. So our faculty members and students are very used to with this online mode of procedure. So admissions, since beginning, you are supposed to fill admission form online. Even last year, 10th and 12th mark sheet with your Aadhaar card, you are supposed to upload it, scan copy on online for registration purpose. So it is a very common thing. It is a very common affair for us. So online procedure, since inception, is an integral part of admission process, as well as it is an integral part of our teaching pedagogy. So as and when after 16 March, there was a complete lockdown in the entire country, we started working on and we shifted easily from traditional to online teaching. Our faculty members, they already well versed. So they started teaching through using with the different technical tools. And students, and from 20th onward, we are going to start online examination, and we will finish by 10th June. And in the central India, I can say we are the first one. And you see the change, how easily we are ready to adopt all these changes in the larger interest of the students and parents, because we cannot wait so long, because it's a matter related to their career, their future. We are here to think about the same. If we will sit idle and we will wait for everything, so this is our responsibility. They are paying fees to us. So our management is so liberal, because they are already leader in 10+2 education. They are already having 2 Delhi public school in Bhopal and 2 Delhi public schools in Indore. We are not here to compromise with the quality of education. That's why initially I mentioned we have only 2,500 students. But we are delivering the quality education. It is not only legal education. We are delivering the quality education because we have right now 10 top class streams, schools with us. And we are not ready to compromise with the quality. Quality includes 75% minimum attendance in every semester. We are not here. We are not working as a dummy university or a dummy college at all. We are not ready to compromise. Because we as a teacher, first we should be transparent, honest, sincere with these affairs. Then we can say we are offering quality education. And I want to add, if you will allow me 1 minute or 2 minutes, I want to add one thing regarding JLU School of Law. Since inception, JLU School of Law is a part of the prestigious International Association of Law Schools. And second, we are the part of Global Alliance for Justice Education. Vaishnavi, we are talking about legal education. What the world is talking about justice education. Justice dispensation system is very weak in the country. And our legal aid clinic is very, very important instrumental tool and involving students in that. How to disseminate justice, how we as a teacher, we as a faculty and the students, they should be responsible lawyer of the future. And they should do something in the interest of the society and in the interest of the poor downtrodden people. So this is important for us. And ultimately, we are the founding member of LSAT India Global Law Alliance, School Admission Council. We are now the founding member of a Global Law Alliance. This is our strength. And this is, I have not shared earlier this with you, but our policy is global plus local. We will establish ourselves as a national brand. We will give the exposure to our student internationally, exposure either bringing the foreign professors to our campus, or our students will go abroad and there is a student faculty exchange programs. Or I want to add only one thing. In the last 6 years in JNU School of Law alone, 30 plus foreign professionals, including quality professors, they visited our school and interacted with the faculty and the students, as well as 160 plus eminent personalities from bar, bench, industry and academia, including 3 former Chief Justices of India, R.C. Lahoti sir, K.G. Balakrishnan sir, Honorable Justice Deepak Mishra sir. If we will talk about the leading advocates of the country, Salman Khushid sir, Vivek Krishna Tankha sir, KTS Tulsi sir, Venkat Ramani sir, they all visited and interacted with the students. If we are not ready to give the exposure to our students, then there is, in Bhopal, it is little difficult to imagine about the same. Why I'm sharing this with you? Because we don't have a good connectivity. We have a limited access. So in that scenario, if you will just imagine 200 plus eminent personalities, nationally known and internationally famed personalities recently visited in last 6 years and interacted with the faculty members. We conducted 3 international moot court competitions and 2 national level moot court competitions, 1 international conference. It is basically is possible because our management is so humble, so generous, is extending support either in the form of finance or otherwise. They want to give exposure to our students. They are thinking about the students only. That's why we have a full-time faculty members with us. 30 plus faculty members right now, 24/7, 365 days. They are ready to assist our students. And in last 6 years, the students themselves wrote about 80 research papers. Faculty has wrote more than 75 research papers. We come out with more than 12 quality publications, books in the form of books. So this is apparent on record. Every year we are sharing on 30th April annual report of JNU School of Law. All schools are doing. This is not alone in our school. We are sharing annual report with the students and parents, as well as with the other people belongs to this legal profession, either from bar, bench, or industry or academia. This is suo motu we are doing. Why we are doing? Because this is our responsibility to do so. Sir, please, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I wish you all the best. I just hope Jagran Lake University, really works a lot for the benefit of students and is able to be a differentiator as far as legal and other education is concerned. Great. I'd just like to take a moment to answer a few questions. All right. There were just 3 or 4 questions which I wanted to answer. So through what's the best field of law? As far as best field of law, Fatima, there is nothing called that. It's just simply because you do your law practice. I mean, and then through and through, when you start taking your electives, when you finish, and then after your, with due experience, you figure out where do you want to branch out. Is there anything which is better or the best? For example, someone can say constitutional law is best. Someone say this thing. So is there enough practice for each one of us? Yes. It just depends what area do you specialize in case you want to specialize. Couple of questions like through law, can we contribute towards nation building? Absolutely. There are tons of examples that come to my mind, but just remember that very simple example of Afroz Shah, who started doing the Mumbai beach cleaning, and just see what he's done to Warsaw and other beaches. Now that's not his lawyer responsibility, but I mean through law you could build nation building or do whatever. There are tons of ways that you can work. You can be a voice for the downtrodden. You can be a voice for people who can't make it. So you can be a very strong and powerful voice with law, okay, if you want to. There was another question which was, after LLB, can we appear for UPSC? Absolutely.
Yes.
In fact, the old saying, when people used to talk about Delhi University Jubilee Hall, they used to say, okay, anyone who wants to go to Delhi UPSC, the route is Delhi University Jubilee Hall. Okay, so these are, good old days. What is preferable, working or going for LLM? Again, depends upon your goal clarity. There are a lot of people who will finish their LLB and immediately do their masters because it fits into their overall career goals. But so it's not like an MBA. Okay, let me give you an analogy here. For example, I finished my bachelor's in whatever discipline and I work. Now I may not need to do law. I may not need to do my MBA. Why? Because for certain years this will work. And then when I hit a glass ceiling, then a management degree can come in. Here in law, there is no glass ceiling. Why? Because if you're an LLB and you have a license, you can do anything. It's only in certain areas where masters help you, provided it is in the goal clarity. So supposing if I need to practice for the rest of my life, do I need masters? Is it a compulsory degree? No, not required. Okay, it depends as to where do you want to fit this. Okay, right. Any other question? Quickly, advice for law aspirants, inspiration. If I would, before I go to Dr. Srivastava, one thing I can tell you today, you're a 12th class pass out, okay? 12th class pass out, it is 16th. What is it? 16th or 15th? 16th of May. Let's say my exams are 15 days, 20 days, 1 month from now. All right? Please understand there are 24 hours. 24 hours meaning 6 to 7 hours you sleep. Okay, you're left with about 17 hours. 17 hours, give or take 3-4 hours fun, food, doing household chores. 17 and 4 gone, you're left with about 13 hours. 3 hours play, have a lot of fun, do whatever. You still have 10 hours every day. Even if now 10 hours every day into 15 or 20 days is about 150 to 200 hours. Is it good enough for you to still take a shy at any of these entrance exams? Do you still have a chance? Now imagine if August is ALET, imagine how much time do you have. CLAT is 1 month and 6 days from now, which is about 35 days. 35 days into 10, 350 hours. Let me tell you, you can crack it. Over to you.
Sir, entirely agree with you. Whatever you said, I want to just add one thing regarding expertise in a specific area. They want to enter as an expert. In initial 10 years, you don't say no to any case. If you want, if you are interested in the constitutional law, cyber law, competition law, taxation, whatever it is, but you don't say no, because it's a learning process. Every day you will learn something from every case. This is one point I want to add in addition to that. And the second point is related to the LLM course. LLM is specifically in a specific area. As and when you start thinking about LLM, either from this university or that university, central university or a state university or from abroad, please use strictly my advice to you, you start thinking from the third year itself. And you start working on that. Suppose it's a corporate and intellectual property laws. It's a criminal law. It's an environmental law. It's an international trade law, or whatever it is. Because LLM nowadays, what is the second point is important. Law firms are preferring LLMs. Why it is so? After completing 2 years, 3 years as a associate there in law firms, they are going abroad and they are completing LLMs, and again they are coming back and joining premium law firms of the country. So this is now a new trend which is emerged in last 5 years, which as a law professor I can add in that.
Thank you. Vaishnavi, I've shared my email ID with the students.
Right, sir.
They still want to, they still think that there are certain questions that are unanswered. Dr. Srivastava can also share his email ID if you've already shared, and they can write to him, they can write to us. You can write to my team, or if you want to write directly to us, please feel free. And at any point of time, Dr. Srivastava, we have his email ID. There it is. You can write to him and look at their program in liberal arts and law, of course, right now, because that's the topic of discussion. And at any point of time, you want my CLAT is only, you want my advice, please feel free to write to us. God bless you and all the best, and get cracking.
Thank you so much, Parikshit sir. Thank you so much, Professor Srivastava. It was a great interaction. I hope all the questions were answered. I think we've covered almost all of that. You can, of course, write to us. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, sir.
thank you, Vaishnavi, for giving this opportunity to
Yes.
me and my university.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Vaishnavi.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Take care. All the best.